Hello and welcome to PolyInnovator's channel, TeleInnovator. This is the Poly in Content episode, and just to kind of clarify that, it is the new name for my Omni Content series. The reason why I want to take this moment to explain it is that I haven't really made any update videos about it, but Omni Content was a word I came up with to go for an omni-channel approach to content creation. I make a video, a podcast, and a blog post every time I make one of these episodes. Link to the blog post and podcast is in the description. And because of the Omni Content name, there was another company that had a similar name for a slightly similar thing. Not necessarily going to be an issue, but I was like, just in case, I'm going to change it to Poly in Content. Matches more of my brand anyway. Point is, today's episode, what is a modular degree? Now, in a basic sense, it is a self-education endeavor that you can do for yourself, a do-it-yourself degree, if you will. Have you ever wanted to make your own education, create your own degree for college, take bits and pieces and put them together? This is why I created the modular degree system and framework, so that we could all have an alternative to college, perhaps even an extension to college for those who have already decided still to go that route. I want to give people options, and one thing I find that I didn't put in a post, but I think that a lot of times the modular degree would help people in college too. Most of the time when you're taking a class and you go and get your lectures, you come home and you start studying from the textbook. You start studying videos from the professor, or videos or papers that you're supposed to read and watch that the professor tells you to do. In any case, you're still doing self-learning in college, but a lot of people don't realize that. They just think, okay, I'm going to college, I'm going to get taught. No, you're going to teach yourself, and the professor's going to make sure that you have learned it right. So there is that accountability factor, and that's very helpful, and some people need that. So that's why I do think a lot of people are going to really benefit from going to college. A lot of other people probably won't, though. But that's why I give people both options. Now, if you are using a modular degree in college, maybe I should make that a post down the line, but the idea is that you would use that modular degree in order to organize your learning modalities and perhaps add more in. So let's say you're learning chemistry, but you find a really cool chemistry course online and you want to be able to use that to help you learn and basically adapt your learning a little bit faster. There are many reasons to be here on this video and this post. You may want an alternative to higher education. You may want to have something quicker like a boot camp, or maybe you perhaps just are multi-passionate like myself and want to pursue many different things. And that was the original intention behind the modular degree. I had a lot of interests that I wanted to pursue down the line, and I needed an education that could adapt to my interests. I'm not necessarily as like a multi-potentialite, where my attention is as flighty as some people can be, where they're like, okay, I really like this thing today, this thing tomorrow. My interest is a little bit more monthly based, but it's still monthly. It's still pretty often in the grand scheme of things. And so each of those reasons are a great reason to start a modular degree. So why did I do this? Well, from all aspects of my life, parents, school, friends, family, they were always telling me, you need to go to college. You need to have a degree to get a good job. And as it turns out, that's not necessarily true. And I asked why, and they could never muster up an explanation. It was always like, you need a good job, you need to have a good career, that kind of thing. And yes, I get that's what they were told, that's what they understand. I was even thinking about this the other day. When I was 19, still pretty young, pretty like new in the working world, only been working for a couple of years, 3 years at that point. I was working at a grocery store, and the grocery store just super went in to the whole idea, make the customer's always right kind of mentality, but not necessarily right, but make the customer happy always. And so let's say there was a coupon that wasn't working, make it work. Like, it's better to lose the 50 cents and keep a customer happy than it is to force the rules about the coupons if it was expired or something like that. And I thought this was a really great mentality, and being able to make the customer happy is something that's stayed with me. So even when I was working at the Halloween store this year, there was this rule about not doing returns after a certain point. But I know a lot of people there who are kind of breaking that rule because they wanted to make that customer happy and also get this angry customer out of their face, if you will. But it was more important because the thing is, the rule was made in order to prevent people from like wearing a costume once and returning it. I get it completely. But a lot of the times, people who were doing returns were actually genuine customers who were like, hey, it didn't fit, or hey, this actually like looked terrible on me, and they're like, I just want a refund. That was a legitimate reason, and you could see it in their eyes that they were being genuine. But the thing is, because of that rule, we're not supposed to do it. But that mentality stayed with me. I was thinking, okay, let's make the customer happy. Now, why do I bring this up? Because that was something that was imprinted on me from a young age, where I thought, okay, I need to make that customer happy always. And that's how businesses run. That's how I should approach any kind of salesman job or something like that. And I mean, this probably benefited me, but my curiosity was thinking, why is it stuck with me for so long? And the thing is, because it was so ingrained in me from a young age. Like 19 still pretty young, and my brain's still forming at that point. And so being told from everybody around me at that job, do this, do this, do this, this, it starts to get in your brain. Same thing happens with the whole, you need to get a degree, you need to go get a full-time job, that kind of thing. That mentality is ingrained in us from a young age and for multiple generations too. And so that's what I was thinking, that perhaps that's why we're so gung-ho about trying to get that full-time job, trying to get that degree, because we're ingrained from such a young. However, a degree is meaning less and less nowadays. And it's not to say that you shouldn't get one, but I think that it's more about just having a piece of paper rather than spending a whole bunch of time learning there. You should learn for sure. I'm full send on the whole learning front. But what you should learn and how you learn is where I'm a little bit different than most. I want to get into the point of like, this decision is not necessarily the normal path, but that's okay. And you want to be able to pursue your own path. That is why I created a modular degree. All right, so I wanted to show you how do you make a modular degree. And so I'm getting ready to release this template here soon. This is all just information for you, so you can actually cut it out once you get the template. But here we get down to the master database. And what's really interesting about it is that it has many different views, but also has many different purposes. So the master database is to take into account all the different kinds of videos and courses and books and audio casts, that kind of thing, all into one. And when you do that, when you see it all at once, then you can start to take shape. You can either use numbers or tags to start sorting them. So I have the tag of education or marketing or whatever, but you can also sort by, like, let's say I want all this topic. Like I want all just self-education. And then once I learn how to teach myself, I want to start learning marketing. And then I want to start learning chemistry. Whatever your topics are, you can have it in an order you think is most valuable, not to mention useful. What's most useful first. And so what's interesting here is I have an example of each different one. You have an example video, which is one of my modular degree videos that's built in. Example course. This is more along the lines of just go explore this website, although I will be adding another one for the self-education mini course that I created in order to help teach you to be an autodidact. And I almost say it's required in order to get this done well, because learning how to learn and learning how to be a autodidact kind of thing, that is something that's not necessarily easy for a lot of people. It's natural for human beings, but it's not necessarily easy. And so we also have an article, book, podcast, and audiobook. And here's the cool thing about that. If you go down here, we have all the different types that are built in, and they all link to this database. And so each one has its own item that's linked from there. So this is actually linked to my database here, so I need to make sure I switch it out for you. But going through all these different videos, and here's the courses that I had on my database here, and there's a lot down there. And it's very nice to be able to look just at the courses, just at the books, at any point that I choose to. And then the one thing I think is really interesting that can be different for each person is this whole concept of semesters. So I had a few different semesters in my modular degree, like, hey, semester 1, semester 2, semester 3. And then you could also do things like sprints, like here's my first sprint. Here's the sprint of the first quarter or whatever, or maybe the first sprint of a month. That's how it goes. However you want to break it up, you can, and you can technically have more. You have to just duplicate that property, and that's the point. You can modify this database to what you need. So once again, I will be putting that self-education mini course in the modular degree. It'll also be in the blog post and the description of the video, and probably podcast as well if you're listening in. And I want you to take that course. It's free. It's not super long. There's 5 different modules. Each module is a couple lessons each, and it's just text and a video. And you don't even necessarily have to watch the videos if you don't want to. The text is probably the most important. And I just really want people to take that because I've really worked hard on trying to make sure I can teach people how to be a self-learner. So what does this mean for you? Well, this is a solution for a do-it-yourself degree that you can do yourself. And by using a Notion template, you can even technically do Airtable. I would not recommend Google Sheets, but even some of these more advanced like database systems, you can do it in whatever system you want. Notion seemed to be the best one because I could have multiple views and you can do it in different ways. And it was easier to modify for people. But The thing is, I got started on my own content creation, personal branding journey because of this whole endeavor. And this has led me to down a path that's way more effective for my life. I always thought, like, what do I want to do with my life? And I thought, like, CEO, businessman, that was always what I dreamed of. And this is my way of doing that. This is my approach to doing that. And I couldn't necessarily find that approach until I had done this endeavor. And that's why I think it's really key. People go to college to experiment. People go to college to learn what they want to learn. The problem is you're wasting a lot of time and a lot of money in order to learn that. At least with the modular degree, it's free for the most part. There's still like paid courses out there and stuff like that. But you don't necessarily have to get a certificate to try out the course. And there's also like audiobooks and podcasts, like they're either free or cheap. And so you can spend a tiny bit of money and find out what you actually like, and then kind of organize it like a degree if you wanted to choose that path. Whether you truly love it and you want to go into college afterwards and use this alongside it, or perhaps you want to forego college altogether, that is your prerogative, and you get to learn which one you want to do by using this tool. So it is a modular approach to your self-education, modular meaning being able to change it at will, although you want to be a little bit like, have a little bit of grit and push past some hard stuff. But going to school does not equate an education, and thus learning must come from the individual. Let's create a system for you.